Apex Legends has finally made an attempt to put a stop to something that's been going on for quite some time, and one specific pro player today might be in trouble. Don't forget the Loba heirloom still going on. All you gotta do is like, comment, subscribe. You got 5 days left until we're picking a winner. So firstly, thank you Maxi for tagging me in this on Twitter. A lot of you guys actually tagged me in, but Maxi was the first one that I saw, so thank you very much indeed for doing that. And Respawn put out this statement last night, and this thing blew up 61.1 thousand likes over on Twitter. This was pretty big, and they said this: recently we have seen increased harassment towards members of our development team. We'll talk more about that situation if you guys are not aware of what's going on. If you aren't, you're living under a rock. He said, we welcome the community input. However, the line between constructive feedback and the harassment of our dev team cannot be crossed. We want to remind our players that we have a zero tolerance policy for threats and the harassment of our developers. We will take appropriate action to ensure the health and safety of our team. They followed it up saying, we love hearing feedback and will continue to work alongside the community to foster a respectful, collaborative environment and uphold the competitive integrity of our game. So let's not waste too much time as to why they made this tweet. We all pretty much know why, and that is the fact that pro player on Team Furia, HisWattson, has been under a lot of issues and allegations and accusations and literally anything you name it of harassing the development team. Now, a lot of this was just not necessarily people accusing him of doing this, but eventually we had a leaked DM come out where AG420, a big Russian hacker basically and leaker, leaked these DMs of them and their conversation where HisWattson was saying that he wants to clown hideouts over on Twitter. We talked more extensively about this on our FSG podcast channel with Thornton Smash and Kijana. So the argument could obviously be had. Was HisWattson just trying to put on a front to see if AG420 would admit to being the person that was harassing him in his games and kicking him out? Or was HisWattson being serious and just completely oblivious to the fact that AG420 would obviously leak out DMs? I'm not necessarily saying that HisWattson blatantly came out and stated that he wanted all of his fans or all of his viewers to come and just harass Respawn developers. However, you can see from his actions that that's actually what happened. But to be fair, I do feel like a lot of people hid behind the name HisWattson because people were doing this before he even said that. People were giving hideouts death threats all the time because he was known as the banhammer in the game, and you can also argue the fact whether or not he should be a public figure, but that's just simply not what this video is about. But earlier I did say that HisWattson could potentially be in trouble, so I want to mention why I said that, and the reason is because HisWattson actually came out not too long ago saying that he was actually being blacklisted by EA from competing in events, and we know that he was for sure not allowed to compete in the Twitch rivals. Now, we don't really know if that means ALGS, but in this tweet that Respawn said, they said they would take appropriate action to ensure the health and safety of their developers. So what is appropriate action? Is that banning HisWattson? Is that blacklisting him from tournaments? Is that not allowing him to compete? Because we've also heard him say that his PR team said he has to make it at least 3 months without starting another hate mob, and says that he believes in himself this time. So people have also been wondering, has Team Furia put him on some type of a probation because they're aware of how risky he has become at possibly getting banned from these tournaments? So I'm really just very intrigued to know what appropriate action Respawn is willing or has possibly already taken to ensure the health and safety of their developers. Do I want Respawn to protect their developers? Absolutely. But one thing I do want to mention is that HisWattson is such a valuable asset to the pro community because he does bring a lot of trash talk. He does bring a lot of controversy. He does bring a lot of intensity or rivalry to Imperial How, and people need that. People need the hero and they need the villain. You can't just have one big name in the community. So I think he's actually doing a lot of good for the community, at least when it comes to getting behind a team, getting behind an organization, supporting that org, supporting that team, wanting them to win the events, wanting them to win the tournaments, having a rival. I would really hate to see him get punished like this and not be able to compete again. However, I am glad that maybe Respawn is putting their foot down and taking a stand. And like I said earlier, I'm glad that they're not taking a stand and saying, oh, you know, don't talk bad about the game. I'm glad that they're at least allowing the community's feedback. So those are the two polar opposite different perspectives that I've been seeing people look at this situation. I'm very interested to see what side you guys are on. What I do want to talk about, however, were some things that were found in this post that I really want to discuss because I think it's a good direction for Respawn to take. I also did some tests to see if I would get any type of reaction, and honestly, the only reaction I got was pretty good. Firstly, I want you to know that in this statement, they say this twice, saying that we welcome community input. However, the line between constructive feedback and the harassment of our dev team cannot be crossed. So they're obviously open to community input. The next time that they say this was in the bottom paragraph where they say, we love hearing feedback and will continue to work alongside the community to foster a respectful, collaborative environment. So I'm glad that Respawn didn't take the approach of just just hiding behind something and say, you know, don't say anything mean, don't say anything's wrong with the game. I'm glad that they really did not take that approach. The problem here though is that Respawn's the one taking this approach and not EA. Mobile creator I'm Al recently got dropped from the EA creator program for saying something negative about the game, when in reality he didn't really say anything negative at all. He actually said that he loved the game and really wanted the game to flourish at its best. But the problem was, he said there were a few issues that he really wanted to be fixed, and it was getting annoying to have to deal with them every single time. And just like that, EA dropped him from the creator program. So as long as you're not worried about receiving a dime from EA, you should be good, which honestly that sounds like an oxymoron. So I made a test tweet here, and I actually do believe what I said, but I said I'm all for heavy criticism and even asking or mentioning the specific person who's in charge of that area. For instance, you know, if something's going wrong with people getting banned, Hideouts is the guy you should be asking, and you should also mention Hideouts or talk about Hideouts or a decision that Hideouts has made. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because I also think it keeps people accountable, and accountability is not showing hate. But I said, but turning it around and inviting people to be mean to someone for the sake of just not liking them, after I made this, it got about 100 likes in the response here, and I saw that there was a lot of people, especially developers, saying that they were going through the replies of people negatively approaching this situation and still choosing to harass specific developers on the team, and I was actually not one of those that got blocked. Also, I had a few developers like my comment. It was good to know that Respawn's not only trying to put a stop to this, but they're also standing up and say we're going to keep the constructive criticism alive. Something they need to stand up to though is the latest issue that's been going on with this collection event release. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but if you see this picture on screen right now, this is actually a completely unedited picture on Apex. You might say that seems a little blurry. Well, it is, and here's an issue that's going on. Thank you, Lawrence, for tagging me in this on Twitter, but also shout out to Ross Lowkey for making the actual original tweet, where he says there's a new Apex update that they didn't mention. Staying in the ring too long starts to blur your entire screen. Not sure if it's a bug or an intentional change, but definitely something to take note of. Take a look at this clip.
One eternity later.
Oh, it's starting to happen. I don't know if people can see. You see how blurry it is? What? What? If you heal, does it go away? This is no game settings. Nope. What? I feel bad for mouse and keyboard players now. They don't get aim assist and this blurry now.
So let me know what you guys think about the current state of Apex Legends. On a scale from 1 to 10, how are you feeling with the game? Honestly, I'm feeling about maybe like a 8.5 out of 10. Not too bad, other than the fact people keep leaving out of my gun right now TM matches. Make sure to comment down below for another chance to win that Loba Heirloom giveaway. Don't forget, you got 5 days left if you guys want to enter again in yesterday's video. Video's right here in front of you. Have a great rest of your day. Vibe, only positivity and peace. I mean, later, Gators.